What if the British Empire came back to life in 2023? Let's find out. So I'm Bausch, and today we are going to be looking at a scenario where the British Empire comes back to life in 2023. Now, I just need to remember that this is a fictional scenario, only meant for entertainment purposes, and that this is not to offend or to say bad of any country, nation, or to make opinions about this. It is just a what if scenario, so don't get too mad. If you get, I couldn't fucking care less. So let's get into it. If you guys enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Really important to me. And yeah, let's get going. So of course, this wouldn't happen in real life, but if this somehow happened, what would actually happen? Well, first we are taking the British Empire from 1914, so the British Empire at its biggest territorial peak, and uh, there would be like a big civil war, big protests, and there would be many international interference on this giant thing. It would be the biggest. It would have the biggest population in the world, probably the biggest military in the world, biggest number of soldiers for sure. But yeah, maybe biggest GDP in the world. Not sure if no, maybe it wouldn't surpass China nor the US. But oh well. And let's see what it does. So to start, British Empire will just invade the rest of Nigeria that it hadn't had yet. So they will just invade the rest of Nigeria. Plus, they will come right here and invade the rest of Oman, UAE, and Yemen. And so the British Empire will just completely take this out in a matter of like hours, taking this little rest of Nigeria, plus this little rest of Oman and the UAE in quite ease. And in the peace deal, they would just completely conquer all of the territories that they had previously annexed. And it is at this time that the United States realizes that it could be useful to do something against this big Great Britain. And so they call every member of the NATO to make an alliance against this big Great Britain in case of a war. So like now every one of these guys is protected in case of a war with Great Britain directly. Great Britain is kicked out of NATO, or the UK is kicked out of NATO, and there is just only one country out of NATO that doesn't actually remain in NATO because of going against Great Britain in a case of war, and might thinking of attack Great Britain in the future, and that's Portugal. Portugal was always this kind of ally to Great Britain, and they have like the longest defensive pact that has lasted for like 700 years, and they are not going to break it up because of that. So they are going to remain not in NATO, but they are going to get out of NATO to remain this big alliance that they have with Great Britain. So, of course, their relations would be a bit shattered with all of Europe, but Portugal would just try to remain the most neutral possible because they do not want anything to do with UK, and they will still remain in the European Union. So now the British and the Argentinians would also join this little alliance because now they are all pro-American with that new like president that they have, and they really do not like the British. So that's two arguments for them to join. But things would only start to get worse when Great Britain decides to invade West Yemen, or this little revolt that started to happen because of the civil war in Yemen. The British would just completely take them out, and instead of just conquering them, the British would just make them a puppet state. So now that the British have done this, they will now shift their focus to Iraq by invading Iraq and Jordania. This will make actually Turkey be an important point because now they would have a second direct and big border with a NATO member. So the British start their invasion of Iraq and also start their invasion of Jordania. While they are doing this, they will not mess up with Israel because Israel is just too strong, and they are just going to roll out here through the both countries. Eventually, they will manage to get this big front line, and Turkey will not like this and will look down at Syria. Now, Syria could be threatened to Turkey if the British conquer it. So NATO, what is basically going to do is let's just declare war to the Syrian government in hopes that we can just get more territory. That's exactly what Turkey does, starting to push it in hopes that it gets a more stabilized border with the UK. It gets it totally done, and Turkey just completely takes out Syria, but things are not too good either for them, as Jordan totally falls to the UK, and now the UK makes this little invasion to make a big encirclement over Baghdad, and eventually it will fall, making all of Iraq also fall. And as for the peace treaty, Turkey will annex most of Syria and make this Syria right here a puppet state and make it join NATO. So like that, the British won't be able to expand to the north. But the British have actually other plans and are going to shift its focus to Somalia. Somalia is actually a pretty important country as it connects Somaliland to the British Kenya right here, and so they will go after Somalia. And so they will start their pushes by coming right here and just completely taking this region out, and also make their invasion over this part of Somalia. Eventually, they will just take all of the coastal part of Somalia, making it surrender to the British. And in a peace treaty, the Somaliland colony will annex the rest of Somalia, making the British Somalian colony. Like that, Somalia is just connected to the rest of the British Empire, and the British Empire won't stop by there as they want to get more, and they will attack Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi. United States will now start giving more support and more military aid to these regions. There is not much they can do against the British troops. Remember, India is like 1 billion people using their troops. Even if America has many troops, the British Empire has automatically more troops, and all of their invasions will just be normally too fast to America actually have time to intervene. So the British will start by here, conquering this lake, making Burundi fall. Rwanda is next to fall, and they will eventually try to make troops meet up right here. Making this part of Tanzania surrender. And after a successful campaign to conquer the capital, this part of Tanzania will also surrender. And in the peace treaty, Tanzania is also annexed by the British, making the Tanzania or the British Tanzanian colony, expanding the British influence over Africa. But now the British want a bit more, and they need to make sure that they can manage to get America controlled. And although they have Canada, it is not enough, and so they are going to invade Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Although they have all of these Caribbean islands right here, they are going to invade Venezuela, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic in hopes that they can, control this little region. Venezuela was always had bad relations with the British. They wanted part of Guyana, and so the British will just quite easily invade Venezuela, but they will have many protests. Haiti, same thing, totally easy to invade, and the same thing for the Dominican Republic. Eventually, the British will make this invasion right here over the region, taking Venezuelan capital, but yeah, they will not surrender, so they will take a little bit longer just to take out because they will not surrender even without their capital. But just like that, Venezuela will be completely taken out. And in the peace treaty, you can see that the British make this Venezuelan British colony. They also annex Haiti and the Dominican Republic and make it a colony, the Haiti colony. And like that, the British Empire has made a pretty good expansion. But as America is getting more and more worried, there will be one last straw to make the Americans and all of this big alliance join the war. And it is when the British decide to try to take back Israel. Now, this will make all of the United States, NATO, and everything join the alliance against the British. But the British won't be alone, as although they are they are against NATO, and that's not a good sign. They will have their allies. So as they stand up with Palestine, Russia, of course, will have better relations with them, but it is not all. Note, the Mediterranean is not the English ally. Britain will mainly ally with some Arab states such as Saudi Arabia, Iran, that also hates Turkey, and Armenia will also join. We'll also have we'll have some other states such as Serbia, and I won't say Russia because Russia doesn't like Britain too much. Britain wouldn't have much allies. They are a little bit on their own, besides Mexico, which could probably join, and Brazil also could join, seeing that they could take Argentina, as diplomatic relations between the two are really bad. There is only one reason for Russia not to join, besides they hating the whole existence out of the UK a bit. It is in a war with Ukraine, so it wouldn't really be a smart move. But NATO will also have more allies put into this, so NATO will bring into the game, well, Ukraine. They will bring Morocco. They will bring some other African states which are afraid of Britain, such as Ethiopia. Um, they'll try to also bring Azerbaijan, and finally they will try to make Vietnam go, and the Philippines also go at war with the British. The British won't just stand there and let this happen, as they will make Thailand an ally, promising to not to attack them, and they will make Palestine and Lebanon both an ally. I don't know why I painted Thailand, because Thailand is not a British colony, but I would just promise Thailand to not to attack them in the future if they help them right here. And so now that we have this settled, it is total war. We start by the British trying to hold their defensive lines over here in NATO, having a pretty actually great sea territory, trying to use it to defend themselves. So they will come right here and try to make some blockades over here into all of NATO, but it is a bit too, costful to make all of these. So instead, they are just going to focus right here on spreading their navy over into these regions. Now, it will be difficult to maintain this, as most of the British Navy, although it is the best navy in the world by now, and of course it is the British Navy, they are still struggling to get all of this line up here intact. And now for the war itself, the United States will start by a Canadian invasion of the region of Toronto, while also attacking through Maine these coastal areas of the British Canada. Um, the United States will also invade this island right here, while taking a while to send troops to Alaska, which will have a little bit difficulties in actually defending themselves. Um, in actually defending themselves. Right here, the British will invade, just totally roll out through Ethiopia, which it was already on their minds to invade, but now it is just completely certain. Just making a small but little invasion right here, taking Ethiopia's capital, and just like that, make Ethiopia surrender. right here in Israel. The British will actually be able to make a little invasion over the south, but not too much. And right here over in this region, the British will manage to make a little bit of an invasion over of Turkey. Right here we'll have an invasion of this little part of Azerbaijan, while the rest of Azerbaijan is getting killed by Iran. Right here in this little front line, Thailand is starting to move their troops into southern Vietnam, making a bit of a landing over with the British, which also make a landing on these Philippine islands. Right here, the British start aiding the region of this little region of Gaza, while this little region is getting completely, the West Bank is completely taken by Israel, plus Lebanon, which is also taken. Right here, Serbia. Okay, done. The Spanish are now going to use their naval advantage over here in this region, as it is all, you know. Now, NATO has this naval advantage on all of these regions, so it is going to try to use it to stop the British in a case of an, a territorial invasion. So now, as the United States is actually reaching more and more territory, naval battles is what is going to determine this war the most. So Brazilian Navy comes right here and completely obliterates Argentinian Navy, making Argentina surrounded navally. Right here in the region of the Philippines, the exact opposite thing will happen, as the Philippines will manage to completely take out the naval advances of the British. Right here, the Americans will start to try to make a supply route to Europe to try to stop the British blockade over the same, while the Spanish, the French, and basically all of them are starting to push them a little bit in hopes that they get the naval connection with America. But things are not going to go easy, as the British decided it is a good time to invade an European country to get a territorial holding, and that country is Iceland. They've invaded Iceland quite a few times, and just to you know make America more angry, they will make an invasion of Iceland, which will eventually surrender, as it cannot just keep up with the Great Britain, with UK. Now that UK has conquered Iceland, they are going to shift their focus into a smaller country that they can invade with ease. And that is the Netherlands. The Netherlands is actually quite near all of these guys. It is below sea levels, and so they will do exactly that by making a naval invasion right here and almost capturing Athens, as it is now completely encircled, and Athens falls, plus the whole Netherlands falls to British control. The British will now make a little invasion of the Western Germany and northern Belgium, but it will actually stay by there, as now the British are actually trying to stabilize their holdings right here by completely taking out this little part of Belgium plus these parts of France. UK, although is not doing much well right here in North America, as the Americans have made it to Alaska, and Alaska is just, creating some difficulties over here, as they managed to connect it with the American mainland, and they are now going to make this little big invasion. They managed to get this lake over here, and Canada's capital is completely taken. The colony's capital. Right here, Mexico, it is pretty much doomed, as it has no help, and Mexico City just falls, making the whole Mexico fall except for this little panhandle that they have. And the Americans will also conquer British Belize, British Haiti, Bahamas, and Jamaica. Right here, the Americans will now try to stabilize the front line with the British trying to take out all of Canada. The British, which will also make a supply route to Canada in hopes that the American plan does not get to right. And this supply route is really going to mess up things for Americans. Now Greenland is completely surrounded, and as Denmark forces that were in the region completely fall, the British completely take out Greenland without thinking two times, making America's situation a bit more difficult. The British, now with the help of Malaysians and with the help of Thais, completely take out all of these advances that the Philippines were making, separating the two in naval terms. But the British are really facing really difficult situations, and so are the Americans. And so they both decide that it is ideal to actually meet up in a peace deal, because this war is just being catastrophic for both sides. And as for the peace treaty, you can see that the world has changed a bit, so let's see what actually happened. So right here in Europe, Britain will annex these little bit parts of France, and will make Netherlands a puppet state. Right here, Denmark and Norway will be made puppet states. Sweden, Finland, and Germany will be forbidden from entering NATO, being forced to leave NATO. Right here, Iceland is also annexed by the British and not made a colony, made literally a department. Right here, Morocco, yes, will be annexed as a colony, making the British Moroccan colony, and will also have Ethiopia made into a colony, together with Somalia, making the British Ethiopia. Right here, the British will actually annex most of the southern parts of Philippines, making it part of their Malaysian colony, and will annex the northern part of Vietnam, making the south part of Vietnam American. So yeah, Cold War all over again. You had a better idea to divide Vietnam? I didn't. Um, Finally, right here in the Middle East, where most changes happen, we'll have Armenia growing thicker, we'll have the British creating a Syrian colony, and expanding their colonies of Iraq and Syria to Turkey. They will make Turkey leave the alliance, they will annex this little island right here, they will create a puppet state out of Azerbaijan, and they will manage to make Serbia still be a state. But of course, the Americans had to win something out of that. That is basically connect the America with Alaska, create a puppet state out of Quebec, get Toronto and this little part of Canada, and make this little part of Canada be annexed as a department of the UK, Newfoundland. They will also annex really big parts of Mexico, and the rest will be made as a puppet state, while also annexing Jamaica. But of course, but yeah guys, it will be all for today. Thank you for watching. If you guys enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to comment if you want more of these empires coming back. I can make the French, the Russian, it is all up to you. And yeah guys, see you on the next video.